And welcome to this special edition of Hannity, the anatomy of a hoax. Tonight, the floodgates are open and the evidence continues to pour in. Make no mistake, there was election interference and Russia collusion in the 2016 election and beyond, but not by President Trump. Instead, according to new evidence published by the Director of National Intelligence, Declassified Information, powerful bureaucrats in the federal government absolutely fabricated lies and conspiracy theories that were then fed to and disseminated by the state-run legacy media mob, and of course Hillary Clinton, and perhaps even orchestrated by Barack Obama himself. They devised, they executed a plot to delegitimize Donald Trump's victory in 2016 and his presidency, and frankly, that led to his entire life, the grand conspiracy, as Kash Patel is looking into. And it was all based on actual Russian disinformation. We have referred to it often on this program as Hillary Clinton's bought and paid for dirty Russian disinformation dossier. In other words, your federal government used this information. It was not only unproven, they were warned against it, and then it was proven to be completely and utterly debunked and bogus. They used the salacious dossier to create what was a phony intelligence assessment, reportedly ordered by then-President Obama, according to this new information, all designed to smear Donald Trump and cast doubt on the results of the 2016 presidential election. This took up 3 years of Donald Trump's first term. And breaking tonight, new documents obtained by the Federalists reveal the very serious objections that were being voiced by career senior intelligence officials. They issued the following memo. Listen to this, quote, unless the FBI is prepared to provide much better sourcing, I believe this should not be included in the paper. And according to the memo, the dossier used, quote, poor source tradecraft and had, quote, extremely sketchy sourcing and simply does not meet normal intelligence community standards. Now, other career officials even warned that there was, quote, no evidence that Russia preferred a Trump presidency or was doing anything to swing this election in his favor at all whatsoever. Well, the Obama CIA director didn't care. Obama obviously didn't care. They ignored all of the warnings. These are senior career top intelligence officials. They ignored them all. They ditched the very real previous intelligence assessment. In other words, the real one. They published a new fake and fraudulent report, according to Tulsi Gabbard, ordered by Barack Obama himself, one that was filled with phony claims about then President-elect Donald Trump. Brennan then reportedly spread this newly minted smear far and wide to other government officials, elected lawmakers, and, of course, the always complicit and compliant state-run legacy media mob. And they, of course, ran with the lie. And according to Gabbard, he did all of this for his dear leader, Barack Hussein Obama. To make matters worse, Brennan is now widely accused of lying about this hoax every single step of the way, even by his own employees. Take a look at this op-ed headline, quote, John Brennan was my boss at the CIA. He belongs in prison. Even law professor, our friend Jonathan Turley, is telling the former CIA director to lawyer up, which according to one report, he already has. Take a look.
It does appear that a couple of these figures may have committed perjury. I think the most vulnerable may be Brennan, who's like a 30-point buck now out in the open. I mean, this stuff goes directly to information that he gave to Congress. It seems to be in contradiction. And so there are real questions here. These individuals, whether it's Comey or Brennan, are not protected from perjury charges if the statute of limitations has not run. They are more likely to be called again to repeat prior testimony.
In the case of Comey, remember, he signed 3 of the 4 FISA applications. Remember, they only last for 3 months, and then they have to reapply. Now, think of the timing. He was warned in August of 2016 not to use it. It was likely political. It became the bulk of information for that FISA application. And even after it was debunked, he was still using this. When they find out information is false that you present before a FISA court, as a matter of law, you are supposed to go back to the judge and say, well, we found new information. This information is not true. Now, this matter is in the hands of Donald Trump's DOJ. Now, as we speak, there is a strike force assembled by the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, working around the clock now to determine what crimes may have been committed and by who. Who knew what, when, and where? Brennan, Comey, Clapper, even former President Obama are now all the subjects of a very serious and very real investigation. But tonight, one thing is crystal clear. Barack Obama was a terrible president, and he abused his power. He fomented a culture of pious corruption inside the halls of our federal bureaucracy. To this day, I can all but assure you that the former deep state actors who carried out this plot to delegitimize a duly elected president, Donald Trump, still believe they did nothing wrong. They didn't care at all about the will of all of you, the American people. They believe their opinions mattered much more, and this information clearly is suggesting that they were willing to lie, manipulate, undermine a duly elected president. To them, using the almighty power of the U.S. government to subvert the will of the American people is what, justified? Because in their hearts, they truly believe they know better than all of us. And for the past decade, that was the real threat to our democracy. In fact, the biggest this country has faced in some time. This makes Watergate, frankly, look like a jaywalking violation. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.